Hi, this is Nicholle Ortiz, and I'm talking about my, and that's Forrest, and I'm talking about my interfaith experience at the Scientology Church, which I went to with Sarah.
Hello, I'm Sarah.
When we arrived at the church, it was in downtown, and it didn't look like any church that I was like, and that's Dewey. It didn't look like any church that I'd seen before. I realized that I had kind of an idea of what church was and looked like, coming from my Christian background. And when we got there, it kind of looked more like a bookstore. Like to the, what was it? The left, there was a bookstore, and to the right there was what do you call it?
They're like podiums
of TVs, different stations of TVs talking about Scientology. There's one that talked about, what's that called? The something.
I have the DVD in the back.
We have the DVDs. Let's watch them. No, just in the car, in the video. Yeah. But there were just different stations. Dianetics, yes. There's different stations talking about beliefs and things within Scientology. And then there was a big desk and these two people sitting at them. And I was worried that we weren't allowed to roam around. And so we went right to the desk and told them that we had an appointment for a tour. And we started taking the test. The personality test, which was like 200 questions, and they seemed like really random questions. I didn't understand how they were going to connect to my personality, but actually when I got my results back, they seemed fairly accurate. So that was interesting. One thing that I noted, Sarah and I, after we took our tests, we went and watched these videos about Scientology, and something that I realized is in the videos, they were all talking about how Scientology helped people, but we didn't exactly get a good idea of what Scientology was from them. And after that, I was called back to meet with a young man named Daniel. Or Derek, or something else.
Something with a D.
Yeah, something that started with a D. I went back to meet with him, and he just kind of talked through my results of my personality test, and was telling me different ways that he didn't exactly explain how, but he said that Scientology could help me with some of my lower ratings, which, like, on a scale from happy to depressed, I was like bottom of depressed, and he drew a little cloud over my answer. So was Sarah. We matched.
We're both depressed.
And he also, I don't really know how it happened, but I ended up telling him a lot about my life, which was not my intention. And yeah, he told me that Dianetics could help me, and that I would find out about it through reading this book. But the book was expensive, so I didn't buy it. And I kind of had a weird feeling throughout my time there. Sarah and I spent about 3 hours at the church, but we left not exactly knowing too much about Scientology, and not exactly, I feel like, at least I didn't feel like I got questions answered, and I had to kind of seek them out later by talking to the lady who visited our class when she came back to visit. And she kind of just gave me an explanation of what Dianetics was, and we kind of talked some about what it's like to be a Scientologist. Does that sound right? Scientologist now, and this kind of stigma about it, and how a lot of people think it's a cult more than a religion, or a pseudoscience or something like that. And yeah, we kind of talked through that, and I remember leaving the church and feeling really uncomfortable, because I think Scientology was the hardest religion for me to learn about, because of the different things I'd heard about it already before they came to our class. And every time someone would say something, I was kind of matching it against Christianity, and that was really hard for me to let go of and just kind of learn about the religion. And when I learned about what Dianetics was, which is kind of like a way to erase painful memories so that they don't affect you now, I really didn't like that. I wasn't down for that.
Wow, I don't like that a lot.
Because I feel like those, even though they're painful, really, they create who I am, and I think I am who I'm supposed to be. And also the idea of the religion being focused around self, and yourself being the one who controls everything, kind of, was really hard for me to kind of come to terms with. I didn't really understand that belief and how other people believe that, and I believe so heavenly, that's not what I meant to say, so heavily that the belief in something greater and the belief in God can help create or leads to revolution, whereas the believing that we're like the highest form of being doesn't. And so those were like thoughts I already have, and so it was really hard to like kind of listen to someone else's beliefs. And so I kind of had to check in with myself of like, this makes me uncomfortable. Why does this make me uncomfortable? Like, where are these feelings coming from? And I think I'm kind of at a better place with Scientology right now. I think there are different practices that were really cool that were introduced to us that are things that I could use, like such as the locational thing that we learned in class, or that triangle, and finding different ways for us to work with people who are hard to work with, or people we don't exactly agree with. And so I think I'm walking away with things after having the conversation with the lady who visited our class, who sadly I forgot her name, but I think after having conversations with her, I was able to understand the more personal side of why someone would follow Scientology, even if I don't understand all of what it is still. So, yep, that was my experience, and thank you for listening. Goodbye, Forrest. Goodbye, Sarah.
Bye.
Thanks for letting me record this in a car.
Yeah.
Bye.